Stuff's working. It's kind of a surprise, actually. Welcome to relaxing, a little bit of painting and some cementing and miscellaneous stuff with Dyson Dungeons. I'm going to have a short session today, probably even shorter than Monday. Beryl decided to make it all the way up to the Midwest here, the Central States, near in the Great Lakes region, and it came through last night about 8 and continues, and it's producing a lot of rain. But the real issue was that the dogs, we have some dogs, and they got all dysregulated, and didn't get very much sleep last night at all. Like, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours or something. And it wasn't like there was a lot of lightning or thunder or anything. It's just like the rain was coming down, and anyway, it started raining about, 7 o'clock last night, and it's going to keep raining for another 3 hours, they're predicting. So in Iowa, it might have missed you. We might have missed you in Iowa. I know it hit Missouri and Indiana and Illinois. Indiana and Illinois got hit pretty hard with rain, and it's moving into Ohio now too. So yeah, I think it just went southeast of you. And we're pretty lucky here. It's sandy soil around where we are, so the 3 or 4 inches of rain that we're getting is soaking in pretty well. We're not getting any flooding or anything. Really, you just moved from Houston. They got like feet of rain. Really, really a mess. So yeah, you would think if you got to Iowa that you'd only have to worry about tornadoes, right? And instead of having to worry about hurricanes. Anyway, it's not even a hurricane anymore. It's like a tropical depression. Basically, it's like 20-mile-an-hour winds, but it's bringing up all this moisture, and it kept the dogs up, and the dogs kept me up, and so I'm really pretty tired, which means I can't do much of anything that can't be fixed. So I'm going to spend probably about an hour and a half talking about things that I might get done, and then probably doing some things. I'm going to work on this guy. These are the little astronaut figures that these 3 go in the command module, and they look pretty dorky, but that's what it is. And then this one goes inside the lunar module, the very not historically accurate suits. And this one stands outside. This model comes with a stand that's supposed to look like the moon. Basically, it's just sort of pockmarked with fake craters. Anyway, on Monday, I painted the gloves and managed. I mean, that's hardly anything, right? But I managed to stick my finger right there on top of this one, took most of the paint off, put the paint on the bottom of the life support pack and the top of the helmet. Yeah, I knew it was time to stop then because, that happens. So today I'm going to do a little bit more work on this guy. I'm going to paint the glove tips blue because that would be fun. Yeah, I'm going to paint the fingertips blue because the real live astronaut suit, this is a picture of the Armstrong suit. You can see it. The fingertips are made out of a different material from the rest of the gloves, so I'm going to try to be historically accurate. And then the bottoms of the boots, like this guy, are gray because they're made out of a different material than the rest of the suit. So I'm going to do fingertips and boot bottoms. And the other thing I'm going to do, and this might mess it up, I'm not sure, is I got some really light gray wash. There's hardly any pigment in it at all. But I'm going to wash the life support pack, and basically just to bring out some of the detail on it. The real pack was just all white. There wasn't any color on it really. So I'm going to do that. And if it messes up, I'll let it dry, and then I'll just repaint it. And just spray paint over it again. The rest of the suit, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. There's supposed to be life support connectors on here, red and blue, like these guys here. It's supposed to be red and blue connectors, and this suit doesn't have them. There's some stuff up here, so I'm going to pretend that those are what they are. And this is a camera. And the camera on the real suit was actually white except for the lens. It was black. And it has this strap on it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint that some sort of different color just so you can see it. And then the lens bit there, I'd really like to make it clear. And I've got this stuff. There's actually like 3 different things I have that could make it a clear thing. So I think I'm going to try to leave it white and then put just a tiny drop, if I can get one, of this stuff, which dries clear. The other thing I'm going to do is I mentioned the windows of the Lunar Excursion module are made out of plastic material. The stuff in the kit is pretty much just like this. This is the top of a carryout container. And I've been using this to practice with because there's hardly any material that comes with the kit. There's not enough there that if there's a mistake to redo it. And the template that came with it to cut out the windows doesn't match the actual window openings. So I've been practicing. I've come up with another way of coming up with the outline of how the windows should look. And what this is I'm testing different adhesives, okay? Because I want it to stick, like whatever this is. There's one of these is this cement, and the other is contact cement, and they're both holding pretty well. This model cement doesn't. You have to be careful because if it gets onto the clear part, it kind of mars it, so you can't. Anyway, so it's unusable. The contact cement holds pretty well, and you can actually clean it up. It doesn't mar the plastic. And if there's excess, a fine pointed toothpick can kind of work it off. So that's what I'm looking at now. But I've got another adhesive, a third kind, which is also a model cement. It's a brush-on. And I'm going to test that. It sort of works like a contact cement as well. So I'm going to test it 2 different ways. One is I'm just going to put some on. I got this as part of the sprue. It's just scrap. So I'm going to cut a test piece out of the clear plastic. I'm going to test it with either just putting it on the white plastic, which would be the inside of the window, the equivalent of that, and see if it adheres. And then I'm going to do it on both parts and see if it adheres. So I'll do that a little bit later. But first, let's do fingertips. Fingertips and boot bottoms. And for that, I'm going to need those lenses need cleaning just like my glasses do. Oh, well. Hi, Who. No, I have not done a flip. You weren't here on Monday, so I didn't flip anything on Monday at all. But it's a good excuse to not get anything done. And you know how I really like to not get things done on this stream. I guess maybe that's what's going to keep me unemployed here as an unpaid intern forever by wasting time talking about what I'm going to do and then not doing it. Yeah, I only went until noon on Monday. And I'm probably only going to go to like 11:30 today. You missed the intro with all the rain that came in. The dogs got dysregulated and they didn't get much sleep. So I didn't get much sleep because I'm dog sitting this week. And so I'm pretty tired. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm lucky in that I am actually officially retired and I'm very good at doing nothing. I'm extremely good at doing nothing. But I got persuaded to do this stream 3 days a week, which is almost like having a part-time job, except I don't make any money at it unless you go to patreon.com/Dyson Dungeons, patreon.com/Dyson Dungeons, become a patron, and then maybe I'll get like 10% of whatever. No, I won't get anything at all, but it goes into the business to pay for things like paint and model cement and stuff. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Sue. I'm gonna do the flip here. So 1, great. See, that's the kind of day it is. 2, 3, 4. Or no paints and 2 paints, but I don't know. It lied. I'm gonna paint stuff anyway. Yeah, so rain kept anyway. I was incoherent yesterday. Oh, thank you. Thanks for becoming a subscriber. That's really, really nice. Thank you very much. That's amazing. So usually, I don't know, I talked about the space race. I talked about nuclear Armageddon. I talked about 50s and 60s television. Oh my God. Okay, well, you know what I could do is I could just keep flipping things and never get around to actually doing anything on the model. So by the way, this, for those of you who haven't seen it, this is the model I'm building. It's happening very slowly. I got this part done, the escape tower. I've got the service module done, which came out actually pretty cool because there's a door on it that opens. So you can see some of the detail, the not historically accurate detail, but there's some components on the inside of it. And I've got the parts for this fairing completed. I need to cement it together. The hinge is attached to this big circle on the bottom, and these panels fold up and down. And I haven't done that primarily because if I did it, I don't really have a place to put it. It's a really big model. Okay. And maybe in order to use some time up later, if I don't feel like doing anything anymore, I can show you the parts that I finished. Just, to prove that something was done. I'm working on this beast here now. This is the lunar module. And it comes in 2 parts. There's the ascent stage, which is this, and the descent stage, which stays on the moon. And it's just taking a long time to get done because I work very slowly and things go poorly. but it's a cool model because you can reenact the mission, so you can see all the parts all come apart. Okay, so when they're all stacked together, you can pretend that you're running the Apollo mission, and you take off, and then the escape tower is jettisoned, and then you can detach this entire thing, the service module. It is sort of a vintage kit. It was made in the 90s. It's not as vintage as the submarine I built before this. If you didn't see any of that, you might want to look at some of the old YouTubes. There was a 1960, mid-60s vintage Renwall cutaway submarine of the prototype of the ballistic missile launching submarine. Anyway, yeah, you can land the LEM on the moon. This is what the moon base looks like. This is all plastic, and the little standing astronaut guy gets put there, and you can take off again and come back to Earth. So yeah, this was made in the 90s, and the other one I built was made in the 60s. In fact, the submarine I built, the submarine when it first came out, when I was probably like in 7th grade or something. I don't remember exactly when, but I wasn't in high school yet. I know that. But I didn't take very much care with it. I just sort of glued it all together. It was a nice kit, but I did a much better job this last time. Someday when it's tucked away under some paper towels so it doesn't get all covered with dust, but it's really big. It's like 2 feet long, so it's hard to show with all this stuff on the workbench. What I mean by all this stuff is all the paints that I haven't put away, and my coffee mug, and that sort of thing. I do not keep neat. Well, it starts out neat and then it just piles up. So I've used up almost a half hour. That's pretty good. These on, and I'm going to paint some fingertips on these gloves. And if I mess up, I can repaint the gloves. What I like best is doing things that can be redone, because not being a master modeler, not being a terribly good painter, and being old, why is there a flaw in the glove paint? Good grief. I'm going to have to touch that up. There was a spot on the right glove here on the thumb where the dark gray paint isn't adhering. Got rubbed off. Probably rubbed off because it's kind of what happens modeling. Well, it's got blue. You can hardly see it, but it's got blue fingertips. Get to do this hand now. And then I'll get the gray paint out so I can touch it up while I still remember that it needs to be done. Yeah. Well, that was tiny. Little bitty little bitty dots of paint there. Yeah, this is the official. Can you see it there? Dyson Dungeons mug. So one thing I will do, during the stream is show off the dungeon tiles that we made for our show. There's some samples here that I'll be able to show you, because the stream started because we print our own plastic dungeon tiles on the 3D printers back there, and then hand paint them so that they look really cool on the show when we get into a dungeon. And that dungeon can be stone, or it can be a warehouse, or, somebody's mansion, or it could be a necromancy lair or something like that. Anyway, the stream started by just showing the painting of the dungeon tiles, but we have all the ones we need now, at least for the moment. And so when there weren't any minifigs or dungeon tiles to paint, started working on models. And the first model, well, actually the second model, was the Renwall submarine. Let's see how I can mess this up. The way I can mess it up is mainly by sticking my finger in the paint and getting it on somewhere else. The demarcation line of the soles of the boots is not really very clear on the print, so I'm just sort of making it up. I think it should be. And then I need to remember to touch up that glove. And this was poorly molded. These astronaut figures came in two halves, front and back. So I ended up spending a lot of time, I think pretty successfully, getting rid of the seams between the front and the back. So you can't really see it, even under 2x magnification. But what I discovered with this model is even more so than the Renwall submarine is that some of the parts were just very badly put molded. It's trying to get an even line on a very uneven surface here. I've spent a really long time, a lot of time on this stream, pretty much just filing and sanding the parts so that they fit together and they don't have big seams all over the place. And that's one of the things that is kind of holding up the lunar module too, in that it's molded in two parts, front and back, and the two parts don't fit well, and they're going to have a big seam on it, and that seam will need to be filled and sanded. But I can't do that until I get the windows in, because the windows go in from the inside. Then they have to be installed before the thing is put together, which is why I need to keep trying different adhesives and different assembly techniques, because they're pretty hard to get in place. Yeah, this is okay. Boots are really ragged on the bottom. The print is, anyway. I think that looks all right. The soles of the boots there. I always very carefully mess things up. No, that's not true. On Monday, I very uncarefully mess things up. This is how the boots are supposed to look. It looks like it's like like it's kind of high on the heel and the toe. Maybe I'll try to. Well, let me look at this and see what I can do. Maybe I'll go up a little higher on the toe here. Heel. What I'm doing here is definitely not recommended. Okay. A really good master modeler would not be holding the figure with their bare fingers. They'd be wearing gloves so as not to get oil all over the finger oil on the model, because that can affect the adhesion of the paint. But I'm not doing that because I just didn't. I should have, but I didn't. So if you ever want to do really good master, display level modeling, you're not supposed to touch it with your oily fingers. My hand is not being steady today. Taking more attention and focus than I'd like. I think next week we're going to have our music back. Up until about 2 months ago, there was some really good music playing in the background by Alexander Nakarada. And then there was some sort of dispute about ownership or whatever. That didn't have anything to do with us, but it did affect our ability to play the music, because if we played it during the dispute time, then the stream could have been like banished. I don't know what they do. But I don't keep on top of how that works, but it would have interfered with the stream. So I haven't been playing the music, but now I think I've heard that the dispute has been resolved and we can get our music back maybe next week or the week after, and that will be good because sometimes I stop talking. Pretty much what I've been talking about with this model has been nonstop complaining about the quality of the lack of quality of the injection. There were some parts, tiny little parts, that are brackets for the reaction control jets. They were done as halves that needed to be cemented together, and the two halves were different sizes. Seriously, they're very tiny parts. They were like 5% difference in the size of the two halves, and so when they were put together, they did not match up well at all. That took a lot of work to fix. How did I get? It's just one of those things where you just go, how in the world did I manage to get a tiny little dot of gray paint up there? Because the brush never went there. Okay, well, now the soles of the boots that took. What the? I don't understand. No, I didn't touch it. Seriously, look right there. It was actually like a piece of dirt or something got on. This is taking forever because things are happening. Okay, well, I don't declare that good enough. I'm tempted, since completing is, why not? A couple of weeks ago, before I took like a week and a half to do some family stuff, that's why was gone for like a week and a half of this. I was doing a bit about if I did wear gloves, I wouldn't be able to move. I don't know. That is what happens when the work surface is not completely dust free. Okay, now I get to touch up the spots on the gloves. I was really kind of enjoying it. Is what I was doing was I titled it "Old Curmudgeon Complains About Newfangled Gizmos." I could pick up on that again. Although I didn't complain about all of them. Some newfangled gizmos, are kind of useful. But I can insist, I will continue to insist that humanoid robots are a gizmo that is a total waste of time and money. If you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World or seen, videos about it, audio animatronics, right? Audio animatronics came out in when? The 1960s, I think? Ages and ages ago. Okay, I didn't paint the bottoms of these boots because it's supposed to be it stands on its own, which is kind of weird. Hardly any parts of the model actually work. At least, see, it does. So I'm going to paint the bottoms of the boots. I don't know why I didn't. Well, I know why I didn't. I thought I was going to cement this onto something, and then the cement doesn't always work or hold very well if it's painted. But I think that this is going to not be cemented on anything. Anyway, audio animatronics came out in like the 1960s. Okay. And it showed up at places at Disney World, like the Hall of Presidents. It's a really big deal. The Abraham Lincoln one doing, I think, the Gettysburg Address. And I have to say, based on what I've seen so far, that despite millions of dollars and thousands of hours, that the humanoid robots now are not particularly better than Abraham Lincoln was back then. Just, and why? It's if you're going to have it just do something that people do, why don't you just have people do it, right? I can understand industrial robots that do particular jobs, but shop towels, those are good. When we first started doing the stream, the work surface here was painted light gray. Okay. And then the contrast wasn't very good, so we decided to paint it dark gray. And then, you can just see a sample here. It just, the paint didn't always go where it was supposed to go. It went on the workbench, and then I just started using a piece of cardboard because that's provided better contrast. But it wouldn't hurt to work over even a white paper towel. If I'd had more time this week, I would have come down and really cleaned this up. About every 2 weeks, I come down and during non-stream days and clean everything up. Okay. Like I dust off the cardboard. I need a new piece of cardboard. This is a low budget kind of thing. Oh, yeah. The thing about a piece of cardboard like this, see, is that I get 4 uses out of it. Talk about low budget, right? So I cut out a piece of cardboard like this, and then I work on this side, and then I flip it around, and I've got a clean surface, and then I turn it over, and I've got 2 more. this one has been used up. Thanks to home delivery, we have a pretty steady supply of pieces of cardboard. Actually, cleaning up cleaning up is a good idea. I'm actually going to do that right now. When I was painting, that little speck of whatever it was get caught in the paint, it probably was one of these little white specks that are on the cardboard here. Not the stuff that's all painted on, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not my desk. This is a workbench. It's actually a pretty big one. It's like 2x8, 2.5x8. It was actually built. My dad built it, and I've moved it like 3 times to different places, and it's been settled here. It's extremely sturdy. It's made out of 2x4s and 1/2-inch plywood. There's like 100 screws holding it together. There's a lot of room on it, but the lot of room has been, it's a flat surface. And in this household, a flat surface just attracts things. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but yeah, did the gray glove touch up? So there we've got boots and gloves. That's really coming along, isn't it? I was going to do a light gray wash. I don't know if this is going to work or if it's going to make a mess of it. But yeah, I was saying flat surfaces are horrible. They just accumulate things. Things I don't know. We don't even own them sometimes. It feels like it's just like a flat surface suddenly becomes a heap of things. At this stage of life, been trying to get rid of things, not accumulate things, but yeah. But this flat surface has accumulated a whole lot of stuff that probably should either go somewhere else or be tossed. It looks like everything on here. There's even some shelves that are built up on top of it, so there's like 2 layers of things. But yeah, I'm seeing some things that can be put away in a different place at least. It's just a matter of getting around to doing it. All right, so this is very light gray wash. Well, it's extremely thin paint is what it is. There's not much pigment in it. And I'm going to use a fairly large brush because it reduces brush marks. It also creates the opportunity of getting it where I don't want it, but I'm going to get just a little bit on the brush. And I want to put it on here like that. And what it does is it settles in the here. You can see what happened. It didn't darken it very much, but it brings out the detail of like these radiators. I think is what those are. Got about 100 times more. Excuse me. Got about 100 times more wash than I needed. Bringing out the detail, but it's also giving it a slightly different color. Just a little bit darker so that one can see the backpack in contrast to the rest of the moon suit. One thing I'd like to do with this guy, because he's standing on the moon, is the moon dust was nasty, but it just attached to everything. It was very gritty. Is what I'd really like to do is somehow get gray paint to look like dust on its legs. I think that if I don't, I'm going to practice with some spray paint. What I think I might be able to do is if I, okay, so like this guy was standing here, if I sprayed over here, that the overspray would kind of hit its feet and legs. And I don't know if you can see it on the real picture. They cleaned it up. I spent a lot of time cleaning this, but the boots and the legs all the way up and kind of anyway, really dark and then lighter as it went up because the moon dust just clung to everything. And it would be, I think it'd be pretty cool if I could pull that off. If I could somehow simulate or replicate the look of the moon dust with just some gray spray paint painted off in the distance with the overspray kind of hitting it. Okay. Well, the backpack came out okay. It's a little bit darker than the rest of the model now. Okay. And it looks, yeah, I think that was an okay thing to do. It looks like I need to touch up the helmet, though. The helmet needs to be touched up with some white paint. And I'm going to do that now. I've got some good white paint here. Actually, I'm not yet. The visor here needs to be painted gold like this. And maybe I'll get brave enough and just do that. The gold paint is kind of viscous. It's thick. And when I painted this one, it didn't level. So it just was kind of blobby. So I put like 3 coats on and then sanded it down with some really fine sandpaper. And it seemed to look, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like smooth. So this is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to practice on this little piece here. It's not primed, so it won't be exactly the same. But I'm going to thin it and see what happens. You got some paint thinner and an eyedropper. If this thins out well, it'll take 4 coats, hopefully. I need a stirrer. This is the stirrer. No, 1 drop of thinner is a lot of thinner. It's still pretty shiny. You can see the little shininess moving around in there. Okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go, so let me try it. See. So far, I haven't done anything that I can't fix by getting out the white spray paint and painting the whole thing over again. Okay. This time I'm going to put the glove on, no holding hand, because I'm starting to get spots on the white, which is okay because it's supposed to look dirty, but there we go. Let's see if this helps, keeps things from being messy. I don't know. This is super thin paint right now. And this brush, yeah, it's actually working okay. It might take a couple of coats, but take a lot of coats. With a thinner in it, it's not covering very well, but it's also not leaving big blobs, which is what it was doing before. I think with the thinner, it's going to dry quickly. And then I can come back and put multiple coats on. It would be better with a bigger brush, but then I couldn't get the edges as well. Well, it's a little bit scabby looking because it isn't, it's very thin. But I'll let that set for a little bit and then put some more on and see how that goes. Well, that's drying, and there's enough thinner in there that can evaporate for a while. I'll just let that set. I'm going to test adhesives. Oh yeah, humanoid robots are just really stupid, and they're any better than they were when Disney made them like 60 years ago. I just have to say that from the ones that I've seen. And they don't, they don't look like humans. They don't, sometimes you get, oh yeah, look at the fingers are moving just like humans. Great. So yeah, like huge amounts of resources to get some fingers to move and the eyes to move and the eyelids blink. Oh boy, that kind of thing. Just have to say it's not very impressive. And then what? And then what? And what do you do with them? They don't do human things terribly well, and because they're made to be humanoid, they don't do like industrial things terribly well. So old curmudgeon complains about newfangled gizmos, that's one that I'm definitely complaining about. Okay, so this is brush on, and on this side I'm going to put it there and there. But on this side, I'm only going to put it on that surface and then attach it. On this side, I'm going to put it on both surfaces. And also, with my the big piece of plastic from which I cut this. Okay, I'm just going to put it on here. I want to see how it, if at all, it mars the surface. So this is the two sides, so they're attaching to each other. And this is the one I really want to work, because I can put that on the white parts here. Okay. And if I don't have to put it on the clear, as long as I lay the clear part onto that without sliding it around, it won't mar the surface. So I'm hoping that this will hold on it just as well. See, if I can just put it on there and not, if I don't slide it around, but if it just attaches like that. And that brush on stuff is, even though the brush is really big, it's easier to carefully apply than the little needle tip here. Well, why that is, I've just found that to be the case. Okay, well, this is going to set now. And then I put these back on, the head magnifiers back on, and put some more gold on the face plate here. I'm going to try this brush just to see if it works a little better. Okay. This is not working at all. Mix it up a little better. This paint is just not smooth. It's almost jelly-like, even with the thinner. I'm not sure where that is, but it's pretty annoying. It's coming along kind of okay. It's not terrific, but for the bubble. There's a bubble right in the middle of its face. Nice. And with the second coat, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not done. Probably needs another coat, but it's not too bad, and it's better than the other one was. Just as I said that, welcome back. You know, that's the problem when you're working, is you get interrupted by people who want you to do things for them. I am desperately trying to get a smooth surface here and not really succeeding. This paint just gums up on itself. Probably should have just tried something else. Let this dry and come back and do a third coat. And if it continues to be a failure, I can just sand it off and try something different. I have these other metallics, which are really good thin paints. They're made for airbrushing. But I don't have a gold one. So I can't use those. At distance, it doesn't look too bad, but it's not great either. I'll let it dry. What I'll probably end up doing, so yeah, what I'll probably end up doing is like with the other one, is just build it up and then use 3000 grit, seriously 3000 grit emery cloth, and try to polish it. It kind of worked on the other one. But I'll let that dry. How's this coming along? These seem... It's not set yet, but it's holding pretty well. It looks like if I use that adhesive and just apply it to one side, that as long as I don't just push it really hard, it should hold pretty well. Yeah, it really is. You can thin. All these paints are made to be thinned. The thinner I have is for Tamiya paints. These are Viejos, but denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol works well as well. And these they vary in viscosity. And if you want to use an airbrush, which I can't do, I can't do it. I've said that on every stream I've tried, and I just, if you think I make a mess with brushing on paint, think about the mess I make with an airbrush. But all of these paints are made to be thin so that you can use them in an airbrush. And I use the thinner that's made for one of the other acrylics. But that, I can try this other thing. Let me see if this works. You can actually even thin them with water, but then it just takes forever to dry. The water doesn't evaporate very quickly. Where did my, there it is. This is just isopropyl. Offline. Did I go off? It doesn't say so. It says I'm still recording. Are you there? Maybe I'll stop if this thing just stopped working. It says it's still recording. Everything seems to be working okay. I don't understand what happened. If we lost our internet, I wouldn't know that. Because down here, everything makes it look like it's still working. So I really have no idea what might have happened there. That got really gummy. That's just awful. Whatever happened to that is not good. And I'm going to try this because it's not gumming up. Okay, after I put this coat on, it did go offline. What happened? Okay, I don't know what happened. I guess I'm going to stop. It's back again. I don't know. That was very odd. It must have been our internet. No, the power didn't go out. There must have been some sort of break in the internet. Did it go black for a while? Yeah. Ever After said that it went offline, and I got this this message saying that it went offline, and now it says it's back. Everything on this end was operating normally though, so I didn't know that there was any issue. I'm guessing because of all the rain. guessing because of all the rain that there might have been some sort of interruption in the internet. Well, not knowing whether it's going to be working or not, I'm just going to put another coat of paint on this visor here, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I have no idea. I don't think the power went out. The lights didn't flicker. It's pretty clear that the internet was interrupted. That's too bad. There it goes. Did it go out again? Okay. Well, this isn't working. I mean, if the internet's going to keep going out on me, I guess it's time to call it quits. So if I have no idea if this is streaming or not. If it is, thank you all for joining in. If it's not, you can't hear me saying anything. So I'm going to give it up because is it on? Is it still on? Okay. Well, obviously there's a problem with the internet here because it bounced off and came back on. So anybody who is watching, okay, well, this thing, yeah, this didn't work very well. That paint just really sucks. I mean, it's gold and it's shining if you don't look too close, but you can see that it's just not smooth. It's supposed to be like glass-like. So I'm going to give up on that. Anyway, I got the backpack washed. It looks kind of dirty. I might just do the same thing with the gray wash on the rest of it. I don't know. There's just some straps and stuff on here. The gray wash worked pretty well on the backpack. I think I'm going to just try that with varying amounts to make it look like moon dust. So what I accomplished today is got the visor not very well done, and I'm going to sand that down and see if I can polish it. I got the gloves fixed. I got the boots. What's up with the boots here? Yeah, the boots are as good as they're going to get. And I'm testing some adhesives, but I don't know, because of the rain, the internet is unreliable. So I said I was going to end early, and I guess I will end early. And for some of you, it looks like I already ended. So thanks for watching, and I will be back on Friday, and hopefully things will be working better, and I can try to get these windows in. That's what I'm going to do on Friday, is I'm going to try to get these windows in, because once those are done, then I can really move along and finish this up. Okay. I mean, it will be, compared to everything else I've been doing, relatively quick to get that done once the windows are in. Anyway, sorry about the interruptions, and who knows what happened. I hope things are working better on Friday. No, there's supposed to be thunderstorms Friday, of course, right? So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Thanks. See you then.